Argentina is in the grand final, and what went down tonight in Atlanta is something you will not hear anywhere else but right here. Not just a match. 40 years of history exploding in 92 minutes. Messi at 39. Bellingham hunting him from the start. An impossible comeback, that banner that set two whole nations on fire, and a 19-year-old photo that changes everything this Sunday. Think you know what happened? You have no idea. The scoreboard is not what matters. It is everything else around it. I am going to break it all down, play by play, minute by minute. But first, a promise. Stay until the end, and you will hear the most incredible story football has written in 40 years. Tell me in the comments whose side you are on Messi or the M. And hit that like button. It is free and hurts way less than losing in the 80th minute. Now let us begin. To understand that wild ending, we first have to look at the match. What happened on the pitch deserves a real player-by-player breakdown, exactly as they earned it tonight. Starting at the back, Dibu Martinez had little to do, but he was rock solid in the air and highly reliable. The keeper who always delivers in tough moments. Without making miraculous saves, he brought exactly what a semifinal demands: the absolute certainty that nobody is getting past him. Now Molina was the weak link, and I am not going to sugarcoat it. England's goal came right down his side. Gordon caught him sleeping on a predictable play, and that defensive lapse cost them the opening goal. For the final, Tonse has to decide if he sticks with him or finds another option at right back, because tonight was a rough game and everyone saw it. Cuti Romero, on the other hand, was pure ice. In the second half, two England players went after him, tempers flaring, trying to pick a fight, but Romero brushed them both aside and calmly played out of the back. Unshakable, the best defender of the tournament. I am not just saying that his play screams it. Lautaro Martínez was flawless until that yellow card forced him out in the 72nd minute. That yellow card changed everything, much more than it seemed, because Lautaro was the shadow completely shutting Bellingham down. Every time the Englishman tried to burst forward, Lautaro was right there to stop him cold. Once he left, Bellingham finally had room to breathe. Remember this detail because it is about to be crucial. Tagliafico was subbed off in the 80th minute right before the comeback started, but his work in those 80 minutes was massive. He delivered pinpoint crosses, attacked with intelligence, and put on one of the finest fullback displays of the tournament. Analyzing Giuliano Simeone is a bit more complicated. It was already a shock to see him in the starting lineup tonight. He lacked match fitness, and his anxiety to prove he belonged showed in every single play. Playing way too fast for a semifinal, the pressure of the match seemed to swallow him whole. He likely won't play the final, probably for the best. Leandro Paredes was steady, winning back possession in that back three. He was less flashy than against Egypt, but positioned perfectly, offering the clean, calming passes they needed to relieve the pressure. And now the tempo rises, because we are heading into epic comeback territory. Before the equalizer, Alexis Mac Allister tested the keeper from distance a couple of times. They didn't go in, but each shot got closer. Running tirelessly on both ends, he was the crucial link, pulling the strings so the team could stage the comeback. A complete performance from a player who hasn't given up once during this tournament. That brings us to Enzo Fernández, the first goal scorer. He took 3 shots from long range in the second half. The first was wide, the second was a warning, and the third was a gift from Messi. When Messi serves it up like that, and Enzo is waiting, it is a guaranteed goal. He didn't miss. Buried it right by the post, past Pickford. The goal of his life, you could see it all over his face. Then there is Julian Alvarez, the most relentless pressing engine of this tournament. He was on the left, on the right, dropping deep, making runs into space, and chasing balls that no other striker would run after in the 70th minute of a semifinal. Scaloni kept him on the pitch, and for good reason. Subbing Julian out then would have killed their momentum entirely. The obvious move was bringing in Lautaro, but Julian showed zero signs of fatigue. He simply would not stop. Reading the game well, Scaloni left him out there. Now, let us talk about Messi. When the pressure is on, the number 10 delivers. He had a quiet first half, pacing himself, waiting for the opponent's mistakes to open up a path he already saw coming. And that moment arrived. 80th minute, Argentina down 1-0, and Messi made the exact play we have known by heart for 20 years. He drifted out to the right wing, just like his prime days at Barcelona. The same area Scaloni demanded he use against Egypt when they were down 0-2 and the cup was slipping away. That is where he started doing damage. His first cross set up the equalizer for Eno. The second, a ball delivered with his right, found Lautaro to make it 2-1. 2 assists in 10 minutes when the pressure was boiling. At 39, he reached 12 goal involvements, 8 goals and 4 assists, a historic record for a single World Cup campaign, also shattering the absolute assist record with 12 goal passes, 10 of them coming in knockout stage matches. Messi changed everything. And watch out, the best is yet to come. But the truly massive moment happened right after the final whistle. We will get to that madness in a second. First, look at the bench. This wild comeback belongs to the entire squad. Nico Gonzalez subbed in like a dagger down that left wing. His final 20 minutes stretched the pitch, carving out the exact spaces needed for Messi's crosses to find their targets. Otamendi, Montiel, and DePaul bled for the shirt, just like always when Scaloni calls. Then came Lautaro Martínez. Subbed on in the 80th minute with fire in his chest and a tie game, he got one chance and buried it. A brutal header off Messi's cross that sent Argentina straight to the World Cup final. His celebration said it all. He ran to the corner crying, completely broken by emotion. Later, facing the microphones with a cracked voice, he confessed he dreamed of this goal since his dad bought him his first cleats. That is this team. A squad that weeps in victory because they know exactly what is at stake. But let us be fair here. Look at the opponent. England deserved way more than the scoreboard showed, and anyone saying otherwise did not watch. Pickford was England's best player, no question. Those 2 first-half saves on McAllister would have been goals against any other keeper, and that crucial one-on-one against Julian Alvarez when things were incredibly tense early on. If Pickford does not step onto that pitch today, it is a completely different story. Simple as that. Harry Kane was a total ghost. We are talking about a striker with almost 80 goals this season, a Ballon d'Or candidate who had to drop deep into his own box just to touch the ball. When your star striker has to track back and defend just to get a touch, you have a massive tactical problem that the manager must fix. Tuchel failed to react. And we will get back to him, but right now, we must talk about Bellingham, who deserves his own separate chapter. Lisandro and Romero shut him down every single time he tried to accelerate. Still, he carried that dangerous spark of someone who can break a game open. Plus, his 92-minute war with Messi ended in the most explosive way possible. We will get to that in just a moment. Trust me, you cannot miss this. Gordon was England's best outfield player. He scored, kept pushing, and stood tall when the pressure was absolutely suffocating. In one of those wild football paradoxes, the Barcelona star ended up being England's absolute biggest threat during the match. Ray and Anderson were completely invisible. A midfield that was supposed to dominate let McAllister and Enzo run the game completely at their own pace. The bench brought a nice surprise. With pure work rate and intensity, an unexpected spark who showed way more character than England's actual starters. And here is where Tuchel comes in with the tournament's most baffling game plan. Argentina kept pressing after the 60th minute, with McAllister testing from long range, Enzo looking for goal, and Nico Gonzalez tearing down the flank. Meanwhile, Tuchel stood by, subbing on defenders when the team desperately needed attacking fire. He retreated deep when he should have pushed up. He practically gifted Argentina 30 golden minutes to storm the box without any resistance. This defeat is on him. Not Pickford, who played like a hero, not Kane, who had no service, and not Gordon, the lone scorer. The blame lies with Tuchel. At 1-0, he thought the job was done and gave Argentina the room to make their comeback. But here is the inside story that almost nobody is actually talking about. The quiet war between Bellingham and Messi during the match and the explosion right after the final whistle. Bellingham went after Messi from the very start, not to play, but to directly provoke him. He wanted to rattle the greatest of all time with the only weapon that works against such talent, relentless pressure. Things boiled over early. Bellingham stood chest to chest, and Messi just sized him up with the cold look of someone who has fought these battles for 20 years. Then he made a sign his teammates understood immediately. Get ready. It did not sound like a threat. It was an absolute promise. Stay tuned, because the end of that silent pact was as poetic as it gets. With England up 1-0, Bellingham targeted him again. Same stance, same provocation. That foolish belief that trying to rattle the number 10 when his team is down actually works. It does not work that way. It never has. In the 92nd minute, with Argentina leading 2-1, Bellingham fouled Messi, a desperate tackle that showed absolute helplessness. The raw anger of a kid who thought he could shrink a giant, only to watch in silence as that genius delivered 2 assists to the final, all without saying a single word. Without looking at him, without a single gesture, Bellingham saw yellow. Messi secured his spot in the final, but the post-whistle chaos completely overshadowed the game. Once the whistle blew, the spark ignited. Both squads clashed at the center circle, fueled by 92 minutes of rage. Total chaos erupted, pushing, screaming, wild shoving. Accusing fingers flying everywhere as players on both sides completely lost their minds. Coaching staffs rushed the pitch, trying to separate the bodies for several minutes while the entire Atlante Stadium watched the spectacle unfold. A near riot, fueled by bad blood, and we carry 40 years of history here. While things boiled on the pitch, the unselected Argentine players unfurled a massive banner in the stands. Las Malvinas are Argentine. Right then, soccer took a back seat. 40 years of a deep bleeding wound laid bare. Back in 1982, both nations fought an armed conflict with scars still felt today. In 1986, Diego Armando Maradona punished England with a legendary brace in the World Cup quarterfinals. One with his hand, the other after a mythical 60-meter run remembered as the greatest goal of all time. Diego scored twice, and today, almost 40 years later, Messi delivered 2 crucial assists with both his left and right foot. Both plays came against England in a World Cup knockout match, with an entire nation screaming from their living rooms. Soccer has this weird habit of repeating itself, and tonight, it happened in the most poetic way possible. But wait, one detail brings this full circle: a 19-year-old photo, a young Lionel Messi at Barcelona, holding a 5-month-old baby after a UNICEF charity raffle won by the infant's family. That baby is Lamine Yamal, the same kid who spent tonight in a New Jersey hotel dreaming of Sunday's final. The same Lamine Yamal wearing Barca's number 19 today, Messi's exact number back then. This Sunday, that kid will step onto the field to go head-to-head with the man who cradled him at 5 months old. There is no way this is a coincidence. And if it is the most beautiful twist of fate soccer has offered us in decades. This Sunday, in that final, 2 lives collide to bring the ultimate story full circle. On one side, Messi, at 39, chasing the World Cup, the Golden Boot, and the Ballon d'Or, a script Hollywood would reject for being too perfect. And on the other, Lamine, ready to win a World Cup at 18 and completely blow up the Ballon d'Or debate. Scaloni summed it up afterward: "I am speechless. What these players do is insane. And rightly so, they have reached 3 finals out of 4 World Cups with Messi as their leader. For Argentina, back-to-back titles are on the line, matching Brazil in 58 and 62, or Italy in 34 and 38. If they win Sunday, Messi ends his Albiceleste journey against the photo kid. The heir trying to ruin his perfect ending. But wait, let us put this in perspective. One stat changes absolutely everything. Tonight was no fluke comeback, it was their third of the tournament. Argentina already clawed back from 2 down against Egypt to win 3-2. They also bypassed Switzerland, turning a 1-1 draw into a 3-1 win with 10 men. And today, another 1-0 deficit overturned to beat England 2-1. 3 times on the ropes, 3 times escaping at the absolute limit, always with the same savior Messi. The guy who at 39 remains the beacon everyone looks to when the pressure mounts and all hope seems lost. This isn't luck, and it isn't about fate blowing in Argentina's direction. It is about how the greatest of all time commands his role on the pitch. Messi doesn't need to dominate for 90 minutes anymore. He just needs to show up at the exact second history is decided. In this cup, he did it 3 straight times, unheard of for a 39-year-old. Look closely at that clash with Bellingham, because it reveals a vital detail about this World Cup. His attitude isn't just a bad day, it was the stark reflection of a completely broken strategy. Bellingham stepped onto the pitch, believing he could bully Messi with sheer arrogance in games. Instead, he watched the number 10 who said nothing to him for 30 minutes. Without even looking his way, deliver 2 killer assists that booked Argentina's ticket to the World Cup final. 92 minutes of chasing a reaction that never came. That is the difference between thinking you are the best and proving it when everything is on the line. The Englishman is a massive player with undeniable quality. But today he learned the exact same lesson as so many others before him. You do not intimidate Messi, you suffer him. And while the Argentine fans started the party on the way to the stadium, they chanted that whoever does not jump is English. They chanted it before, they chanted it after, and they sealed it on the pitch with the Malvinas flag. This win was not just about reaching the final, it was sacred. Proof that when this country unites, when Messi puts the team on his back, when Lautaro accepts the bench and scores the goal of his life, when Nico Gonzalez runs the wing and McAllister and Eno fight in the middle, fighting until the ball goes in, Argentina can beat anyone, even England. And history itself, with Tuchel parking the bus, a 1-0 deficit, and 30 minutes on the clock. This Sunday, they will try to prove it again against Spain, against Lamine, against Unai Simon and his unbeaten record, against Cubarsí and Laporte, against Rodri and Fabian. The best defense of the tournament, a wall that has not conceded a single clean shot to the most lethal attacks. That is the matchup this Sunday, the most colossal final the soccer world has seen in decades. And there is a massive gulf between them that explains everything. Spain and Argentina come into this final from completely opposite worlds. Spain arrives undefeated, barely sweating, dominating at will with teamwork so perfect it is almost terrifying. Argentina arrives hanging by a thin thread, fighting through Egypt, suffering to the limit against England today, surviving a war with Switzerland, and always needing Messi to rescue them. Spain suffocates you, playing a style that gives you no room to breathe. Argentina somehow finds a way when everything seems totally lost. Which style is better? We will find out Sunday, but there is a force you cannot measure in statistics, the drive of an entire nation that sees this team as something far more sacred than soccer. Tonight, with the Malvinas banner in the stands and an emotional Lautaro remembering the boots his father bought him as a kid, when 39-year-old Messi ran down the wing delivering crosses like he was 20, the ball reminded us of a truth no tactics board can ever explain. Some teams win with a system, others win with their soul. Spain is the system, Argentina is the soul. On Sunday, they collide before the eyes of the world to see which force prevails if the perfect machine claims glory, or if this era's most legendary team finds a way to rise again. That is the big question. The answer will come in 90 minutes with Messi on one side, Lamine on the other, and that legendary photo from 19 years ago floating over every single play on the pitch. And there is one final detail before Sunday, the thing that gives this madness meaning. Messi is 39 years old. Let that sink in, 39. That is the headline when you look at his 12-goal contributions in this tournament and his 2 assists tonight, his historic record, and the fact that when Argentina is on the brink, he always delivers. No player has ever sustained this level at 39 years old. Not Pele, not Maradona, not Ronaldo the Phenomenon, nor Zidane. Nobody. Yet Messi does it in the toughest competition on earth, facing relentless defenders and masterclass tactics, carrying the heavy burden of leading an Argentina side constantly forced to fight back. This is unprecedented. On Sunday, he could finish it in the most poetic way imaginable. A World Cup final against Spain, against Lamine, against the baby from that photo. If he wins, Messi would equal Pele, likely taking the Golden Boot, making an undeniable case for another Ballon d'Or at 39 years old. And if he falls, he goes out in the final of his last World Cup, leaving absolutely everything on the pitch. No matter what, his legacy is secure. He does not need this to be the greatest of all time, but soccer is gifting him one final glorious chapter. This Sunday, we will find out if that page closes with Argentina's golden dream, or if Spain proves that a perfect collective can conquer all, writing their own destiny for a generation born in the Euros of 2024, culminating in this 2026 World Cup with Lamine and Kubarsi, 2 18-year-old teenagers in the final. Let us finish with the one stat that sums up the night better than any tactical breakdown. 10 Barcelona players in the World Cup final and 0 from Real Madrid. Messi plays for Inter Miami now, but he built his entire legend wearing those iconic Blaugrana colors. On the other side, Real Madrid's Bellingham sparked some of the most intense drama on the pitch in Atlanta. Soccer has a sense of humor that is sometimes poetic, sometimes ironic. Tonight we saw both. The poetry of Messi with that old photo of Lamine Lautaro wearing his father's boots. The memory of Maradona with Argentina beating England 40 years later, and the irony of Tuchel defending deep, Kane dropping deep to chase invisible passes, and Bellingham running after a miracle that never came. Soccer ruled today, and this Sunday it will speak again before the biggest audience in history, a frozen planet with Messi in one corner, Lamine on the other, with that 19-year-old photo hanging over everything that is about to unfold. Destiny wrote this story nearly 2 decades ago in a forgotten photo, and this Sunday it gets sealed forever on the pitch.